The invasion began on a Tuesday. Travis Kellan had just finished his morning run around the outskirts of Fort Saginaw, a decommissioned reserve base turned training ground tucked into the Michigan woods. The sky looked wrong, not stormy, not overcast, wrong. He paused under the bare branches of an oak tree, hands on his hips, chest heaving. Dust clung to his boots. He squinted upward. The clouds fractured, then split apart entirely. A low, humming vibration shook the ground. Something massive descended silently through the atmosphere, blotting out the sun. It wasn't a ship in any traditional sense, no engines, no visible propulsion. Just a smooth obsidian oval, nearly a mile wide, hovering like someone had hung it there. Travis whispered, "What the hell?" The first blast hit Lansing 15 minutes later. By the time news footage reached the reserve base's emergency monitors, the capital was already gone. Not bombed, erased. A violet beam had sliced across the skyline and left behind a glassed crater. Then Grand Rapids. Then Toledo. The alien ship didn't fire again. It just hovered, watching. "Are those things waiting for something?" One of the reservists muttered. Travis didn't answer. His mind was already working 2 steps ahead. He wasn't active duty anymore. He hadn't been for years. But the Army didn't forget its people. Especially not the ones who knew how to adapt when everything went sideways. And Travis had been through plenty of sideways. "Major Kellan," someone called from behind him. He turned and saw Lieutenant Green, pale-faced, holding a sat phone. "It's Central Command, for you." Travis took the phone and pressed it to his ear. "This is Kellan." "Major, this is General Harrow," came the voice, clipped and low. "I'm activating Saginaw, full mobilization. Your acting commander, Navcom's down, NORAD's blind. We've lost contact with every major installation east of the Mississippi. We don't know how many of those ships there are, but they're hitting hard and fast. We need you to hold your position. Organize the reserves. You're all we have left in that corridor." Travis braced the phone between his shoulder and cheek, already motioning to Green to start gathering personnel. "Understood. Any intel on what we're dealing with? Not much. They're not broadcasting. We recovered fragments of one drone. Metallic biology, no visible crew, but they're coordinated, surgical, and they didn't expect resistance," he frowned. "They hit active duty first." "Exactly, they think the rest of the planet is soft. They forgot about you." Travis didn't smile. There wasn't time. "We'll remind them." The call ended by nightfall. Fort Saginaw had become a war zone, not because it was attacked yet, but because it was the only place left organizing any kind of coordinated response. The native National Guard units had been overrun or scattered. Militia groups were panicked and disorganized, but the reserves? They came. From every corner of the Midwest, old uniforms were dug out of closets. Men and women, some in their 60s, others barely out of high school, showed up in droves. Mechanics, teachers, postal workers. They brought their own rifles, their own boots, and more importantly, their own stubborn refusal to lay down. Travis stood on the back of a flatbed truck just after midnight, the parking lot flooded with headlights and mud and noise. He lifted a megaphone. "Listen up. You're not here because someone ordered you. You're here because you chose to be. That makes you dangerous. That makes you ugly. And that makes you exactly what we need. I'm not going to lie to you. The enemy's advanced. They're coordinated. They've wiped out every major installation they've touched. But they didn't expect us. They didn't expect you. They thought Earth was defenseless. They forgot the reserves." There was no cheer, no applause, just nods, determined faces, people grabbing their gear and heading to their stations. 3 hours later, the first scout ship descended. It was small compared to the one over Lansing, maybe the size of a commercial airliner. It hovered silently just above the tree line, matte black, shaped like a crescent, no lights, no visible weapons. Travis watched it from the command trailer as it crept forward. "Get me eyes in the sky," he said. "We've got one drone still operational," Green replied. "Launching now." The feed blinked to life on the monitor. The aircraft drifted forward, slow and deliberate. Then it opened. A single figure dropped from the bottom like a stone. It landed without a sound, standing in the clearing just 500 yards from the base perimeter. They zoomed in. It stood about 7 feet tall, humanoid, metallic skin that shimmered like oil in sunlight, 4 arms, 2 of them folded behind its back. No visible face. Just a smooth, helmet-like head with a single glowing slit across the front. "What do we do?" Green asked. Travis stepped outside. "I'm going to talk to it." "You're what?" "I don't think it's here to fight." "Not yet." He walked alone toward the perimeter, rifle slung across his back but hands empty. The wind rustled the pines. Somewhere behind him, a dog barked. The alien didn't move. Travis stopped 20 meters away. "You here to negotiate?" he asked. The figure's chest shimmered. Then in a flat, synthetic voice it replied, "You are not combat class, you are not active duty, this facility is irrelevant, you will disband." Travis frowned. "You think we're irrelevant?" "Yes." "Why? This world's primary defense grid has collapsed. Your deterrents are gone. Your orbital platforms are silent. Your command structure is fragmented. Resistance is statistically insignificant." Travis glanced back at the base. "You're wrong. We're not your average civilians. Every person here has been trained. Every person here has seen combat. You think we're irrelevant because we're not regular army. You are obsolete. Then test us." There was a pause. Then the alien lifted one hand. A burst of energy slammed into the dirt 10 meters in front of Travis, kicking up rocks and fire. He staggered back, shielding his face. The figure turned and began walking toward the base. Travis ran. "Sound the alarm," he shouted into his radio. "We've got company, all positions now." The alien moved fast, too fast. It closed the distance to the outer barricade in seconds, deflecting the first wave of gunfire like it was batting away leaves. 2 reservists flanked it with shoulder-mounted launchers. They fired simultaneously. The alien twisted midair, dodging both. Then it landed among them. Travis watched from behind a sandbag wall as the figure dropped one man with a single strike to the chest and hurled the other into a truck. He didn't see them get up. Green ran up beside him, face pale. "Sir, we've got mortar teams in the woods." "If we can draw it a few meters east." "I know," Travis said. "I know, get your squad to flank left, I'll draw it." "You'll what?" "Go." He grabbed a flare gun from the crate, loaded it, and sprinted toward the open field. The alien turned its head slightly, tracking him. Travis fired the flare straight into the sky. The creature charged. Travis ran, zigzagging through the scrub, breathing hard, legs burning. He dove behind a fallen log just as the first shell landed. The explosion lit up the forest. Heat singed his back. He rolled to the side as the second hit. Then the third. When the smoke cleared, the alien was down, but not dead. Travis crawled forward, coughing, eyes stinging. The figure was twitching, one arm bent the wrong way, back scorched. It looked at him. "You are not irrelevant," it said, then it shut down. Travis sat down hard, heart pounding. "No," he muttered. "We're not." Back at base they counted casualties. 2 dead, 3 injured. One with a broken femur real bad, another with shrapnel in the neck. The medics stabilized them, but Saginaw wasn't equipped for trauma care. Travis made the call. "Evacuate the wounded to the Traverse facility. We'll hold here." Green nodded. "What if they send more?" "They will, but we'll be ready." He turned to the rest of the command team. "Start prepping defensive lines. Reinforce the west gate. That scout was just the beginning. They've underestimated us once. Let's make sure they regret it." The next wave came at dawn. This time it wasn't 1, it was 10. The first explosion knocked the coffee out of Sergeant Lang's hand. He just finished taping a splint around a shattered ankle when the blast rattled the walls of the converted mess hall. Metal trays clattered to the floor. Somewhere behind him, someone swore. The lights flickered but held. "Brace that gurney," Lang snapped, already ducking behind a table. This place wasn't built for shockwaves. Private Delaney grabbed the rolling cot before it slammed into the supply shelf. The man on it, mid-30s, pale, eyes half-focused, let out a low groan. The field tourniquet around his thigh was holding, but barely. "Pressure's dropping again." "Hang another unit," Lang said. We're out of oneg, you synthetic, Delaney hesitated. We're down to 3 bags. Lang didn't look up. That man's gonna die in 10 minutes. Your inventory lecture can wait. Outside, the second wave had arrived. The sound was different this time, not just the high-pitched hum of aerial scans, but the rhythmic pounding of something heavy moving across dirt. Like construction cranes with legs, Corporal Vance stumbled in, helmet dented, blood across his cheek. "Contact on the north line," he gasped. "Heavy bipedals, 4 of them. They're not drones. One of them just tore through a concrete barricade like it was cardboard." Lang pointed to the empty gurney. "You're limping. Sit." "I'm fine. You're bleeding from your ear." "I said I'm." Lang grabbed his arm and turned his head. "Ruptured canal. If you stand too fast, you'll black out and swallow your tongue. Sit down before I strap you to a table." Vance sat outside, gunfire crackled. Not steady like sustained volleys, short bursts, sharp, desperate, not enough time between for reloads. The kind that meant people were moving, repositioning, or falling. "Where's Kellan?" Lang asked. Delaney, still holding pressure on the leg wound, said, "He's with the mortar crews, East Ridge. They're pulling everything back to the tree line." Lang cursed under his breath and reached for the iodine. The man on the table suddenly convulsed. Delaney shouted and pressed down on his sternum. "Heart rate's gone, defib's dead," Lang said, already jamming 2 fingers under the edge of the tourniquet. "Pulse, weak." Clamps slipped. "Give me the hemostat." "No, the longer one there." Blood welled up again, soaking through the gauze. Lang pushed a knee onto the thigh to keep it steady and worked the clamp in. His hands were shaking. He hadn't slept in 20 hours. "Okay, that's arterial. Got it. Pressure's stabilizing. Bags halfway in." Outside, another explosion, this one closer. The roof groaned. "Why the hell are they hitting the med bay?" Delaney shouted. "They're not," Lang muttered. "They're hunting movement. This place isn't on their maps. They're reacting to sound." "How do you know that?" "Because if they had thermal, we'd be ash by now." The gurney shook again. The wounded man's eyes fluttered open. Lang leaned over him. "You still with me, Morales?" The man blinked slowly. "I saw the thing. It didn't have a face." Lang exhaled. "You're not wrong," Morales coughed. "It said my weapon was irrelevant." Lang tightened the clamp. "So was your sarcasm. Didn't stop you from using it." Morales gave a faint grunt that might have been a laugh, then the lights went out. "Generators down," Delaney said. Lang didn't respond. He grabbed the emergency lamp and switched it on. The yellow beam stuttered, then held. Batteries low. "We've got maybe 10 minutes before we're blind. Should we move him?" Lang looked at the Roman 4, the makeshift oxygen rig, the open leg wound. "If we try to carry him like this, he'll bleed out or seize. We wait till we know the path's clear." A sound echoed from outside. Not the mechanical hum of the walkers, something else, footfalls. Fast, too fast. Lang grabbed the pistol he kept under the supply cot. Delaney whispered, "That doesn't sound like ours." The door buckled inward. Lang aimed, then it flew open. Travis stumbled through, covered in mud, one sleeve torn off, a long scrape down his forearm. He was dragging a metal rod longer than his leg, covered with scorched circuitry. "I need tools," he said. Lang lowered the pistol. "You're bleeding." "Later. I need to open this thing up." "It's part of their targeting relay. I think it's linked to the walkers." Delaney blinked. "You pulled that off a live unit." Travis dropped it on the floor with a thud. "It was less alive when I finished." Lang dug through a crate. "You're going to try to reverse their telemetry?" "No. I'm going to teach it to lie." He set the rod on a table and pried open a panel. Inside was a tangle of fiber strands and glowing nodes, nothing labeled, nothing human. Lang handed him forceps and stepped back. "You've got about 8 minutes before the battery dies. That's all I need." Travis worked quickly, cutting 2 strands, joining them with a stripped wire from a communications headset. They think in pulses, not language. The scouts react to pressure and energy. But the walkers, they follow instructions. If I can reroute this node here and cross it with our own beacon frequency. Delaney frowned. "Won't that just lead them to us?" "No, it'll tell them we're already dead." He twisted a final wire into place. The rod gave a faint beep. Signals broadcasting. Outside, the footsteps stopped. Lang whispered, "Did it work?" Travis didn't move. Wait. Seconds passed, then the sound of the walkers shifted. The heavy thuds grew slower, fainter. Then vanished. Lang exhaled slowly. "You just ghosted a platoon with a piece of alien hardware and a broken radio," Travis nodded. "They assumed we wouldn't know how to lie in their language." Morales coughed again. "Do it again. Lie louder." Lang checked his watch. "We're burning daylight. Once the signal loop fails, they'll notice." Travis wiped his hands on his pants. "Then we'll need another piece. You're not going out there again." "I'm not asking." Delaney pointed to the rod. "That thing almost killed you." Travis looked at him. "Yeah, but it didn't. And now it's working for us." Lang grabbed a canteen and tossed it to him. "Drink first. You're dry as bone." Travis took a long swig, then sat on the floor briefly, breathing hard. "Command's still dark," he said. "We've got no satellites, no long-range data." "But I saw one of the walkers hesitate, like it was waiting." Lang nodded. "More might be coming, or they're coordinating." Delaney asked, "How do we fight something that never gets tired?" Travis stared at the broken machinery on the table. "We give it a reason to be scared." Lang touched the edge of the rod with a gloved hand. "We still have no idea what this metal even is. It's not alloy, it's grown." "That's what makes it useful," Travis said. "It adapts, so can we." A soft knock came at the back door. Lang raised the pistol again. "That's not protocol." The knock repeated, too fast, one slow. "I know that pattern," Travis muttered. "That's Brenner's code." Lang moved to open it. Outside stood Private Brenner, one side of his face caked in soot, dragging a crate behind him with the help of two teenagers in civilian clothes. "Found these kids near the west perimeter," he said. "They were rigging their dads combine with explosives." Travis blinked. "They were what?" The older of the two, maybe 16, shrugged. "Figured if it could plow a field, it could plow one of those things." Lang blinked. "You wired a John Deere to detonate," the kid nodded. "Didn't go off though. Got scared when it started scanning me." Delaney leaned over. "What's in the crate?" The younger one beamed. "Cattle prod batteries and some old welding gear." "We thought maybe." Travis stood up. "You thought right. Come with me." Lang sighed. "We're building weapons out of farm equipment now." Travis glanced back. "We've always built weapons out of farm equipment. This time we're just aiming higher." Lang watched them go, then turned back to Morales. "You're going to be all right," he said. Morales blinked slowly. "Not if you let those kids near a tractor again." Lang reached for the last of the synthetic blood and started hanging another bag. "Let's just hope the next thing they wire doesn't explode in the barn." By the time the sun cracked through the treetops the next morning, the field behind the mess hall looked like a scrapyard, married a farm show. Travis stood beside the half-dismantled combine, rubbing a streak of grease from his nose with the back of his hand. The kids Cal and Mira had managed to salvage the battery array and were now torching brackets onto the frame of what used to be a grain loader. The thing had wheels, spikes, and a makeshift battering ram that looked more like a church bell on its side. It reeked of diesel and desperation. Lang approached, pulling off a stained pair of gloves. His eyes looked clearer, but the lines around them had deepened in the past 24 hours. "Got your message," he said. "You're really thinking of driving this thing straight at them?" "Not exactly," Travis said. "I'm thinking of letting them find it, then it drives itself." Lang squinted at the wiring. "You really trust their tech that much?" "I don't trust it," Travis said. "I just understand what scares it now." They stepped aside as Mira hauled a cable over her shoulder, dragging it toward the rigged control console. Her jacket was 4 sizes too big, but she moved like she'd done this before. Lang watched her climb into the cab. "She's what, 15? 17, Travis said. "And sharper than half the engineers I trained with." Lang cracked a knuckle. "You ever think we're the only ones who didn't get the memo that Earth's supposed to roll over?" Travis picked up a wrench. "I think the aliens saw our cities and assumed the rest of us were made of glass." Lang crouched near the wheel well and knocked on the metal. "What's the plan once this thing starts moving?" Let it draw them to the riverbed. That's where Brenner's team buried the fuel drums. Lang raised an eyebrow. You're planning to cook them in fuel vapor. They think we don't know how to mask heat signatures. They're about to find out we do. A buzz crackled on the short-range radio. Travis grabbed it. Go ahead. Brenner's voice came through, laced with static. Visual on 2 scouts, 10 meters off the south ridge. They're scanning low, not engaging. Hold position, don't fire unless they breach the tree line. They're not moving like the last one, Brenner said. These ones are. Twitchy? Lang pulled out a folded map from his back pocket and spread it on the hood of a Humvee. If they're scanning, they're collecting, looking for patterns. Travis pointed at a spot near the creek. We'll send the decoy down this trail. Fast enough to ping their sensors, slow enough to let them track it. Lang nodded. You think they'll follow? They will if it smells like bait. Mira jumped down from the cab. It's ready. Remote's linked to the relay. Range is limited, but you'll get 2 minutes of control before it goes autonomous. Lang gave her a nod. Good work. She wiped her hands on her jeans. I used the starter from the old snowplow. Should give it a jolt on launch. Travis took the remote and handed her a protein bar from his vest. Eat something. You've earned it. She took it wordlessly and walked back toward the barn. Lang looked at the combine, then at Travis. You're betting a lot on a machine that was built to harvest corn. I'm betting on what we made out of it, Travis said. And who made it? 20 minutes later, the scouts moved. Brenner's team tracked them shifting east, flanking low through the brush, their movements erratic. One of them paused near a tree and extended a thin appendage that looked like a branch. It touched the bark, then retreated. They're sampling, Brenner said, studying us. Travis stood at the edge of the ridge and clicked the remote. The combine roared to life. It jerked forward down the slope, tires kicking up mud and leaves. The battery packs on its sides pulsed blue, feeding power into the rigged boosters Mira had mounted along the axle. It looked like a carnival ride gone feral. The scouts reacted instantly. They broke from the trees in perfect unison, trailing the machine at a steady pace. One of them raised an arm and projected a faint cone of light ahead of it, like it was mapping the route before deciding whether to follow. Come on, Travis muttered. The combine hit the bend and veered toward the riverbed. Lang, watching from a perch behind the old silo, held a pair of binoculars to his eyes. They're closing in. One of them's climbing on top of it. Travis waited, thumb hovering over the second switch. The combine lurched into the gully. Now, he flipped the switch. The buried drums, packed tight with vaporized fuel and old fertilizer, ignited beneath the bank. The explosion wasn't loud, it was low, rumbling like a storm collapsing underground. The ground shuddered. A plume of black smoke erupted skyward. The scouts disappeared in the blast. Lang climbed down and met Travis near the edge of the trail. You think that did it? We'll know in an hour, Travis said. If they come back, we missed something. They didn't. By afternoon, the skies were still. No movement, no hum, no patrols. Travis sat on the tailgate of the Humvee, sipping the last of the instant coffee Lang had bartered from a passing volunteer unit. Mira was asleep in the barn, curled up next to a crate of wire and a dog she'd found wandering the woods. Lang dropped a folding chair next to him. You know, he said, if we hadn't been here, if any one of us had stayed home, they'd be walking through Chicago by now, Travis finished. Lang nodded. We're not supposed to be the ones holding the line. No. But we're the ones left. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the wind. Then Lang said, You think they'll send more? Travis shook his head. They won't. How can you be sure? Travis reached into his jacket and pulled out a piece of charred metal the size of a fist. It glowed faintly along one edge, still pulsing with residual energy. I found this near the blast site. It wasn't part of the scouts, it was a data core, Lang leaned in. And it was transmitting, not to orbit, to the ground. Lang frowned. You're saying they were reporting to something still here? No, I'm saying they were reporting to each other. This wasn't reconnaissance, it was a test. Lang stared at the horizon. And we passed. Travis tossed the core into the dirt and crushed it under his boot. They told the soldier Earth was defenseless, he said. They didn't mention the part where we fight with tractors, duct tape, and spite. Lang laughed once. You think they'll tell the next one? Doesn't matter, Travis said. We've already written the message. He stood, stretched his back, and looked toward the sun dipping behind the pines. Let's get the radio tower back online. I've got a feeling we're not the only ones who made it. Lang nodded. And if someone else shows up, we'll teach them about the reserves.